Lots of children are heading back to school today, but would you send your children to an online school? Now, these are actually growing in popularity among kids who say that mainstream school isn't for them. It's different to homeschooling and it's taught virtually by a licensed teacher in a classroom setting. What do you reckon to that, Judes?
I mean, if I'm honest, we want time at home without the kids, don't we? But no, I think, look, each child has their own different needs. My concern is that bit by bit we are filtering out and taking away opportunities for socialising. And we know that for young people, this is really important in their self-development, in their identity, and their education. I think if there's somewhere in between, depending on your child's needs, that maybe there's some days that they do online within the school, but they're still active. Because even people who homeschool, they still have, like, social groups that they come together. So that would be my issue. Don't get me wrong, it depends on your child's individual needs. But I think in society at the moment, we're so becoming just very, like, distant from everybody, you know, and that's what would be my concern.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if there's a bullying situation, you can kind of understand why somebody wouldn't want to go to mainstream school, but you kind of wonder, they need to kind of deal with the cause of the anxiety rather than isolating the child even further. What do you think, Brenda?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The whole, you know, I think anxiety in children and young people has risen so much over the last few years that I think that's why this is now coming. Maybe they've identified that there are so many children that are not going to school. What is the reason? But as you say, with bullying and things like that, and online bullying, you know, I think, and if you've got a child with learning disabilities, I think it can be beneficial to at least they're getting some form of education. Some form of education is better than none. For myself, when I was growing, there was never an option of not going to school. It was never an option. You know, I am proud to say I enjoyed school. I loved it. I got an Outstanding Pupil of the Year award for perfect attendance. I was a bit of a teacher's pet, teacher's swat. I was a prefect, and you know, and I enjoyed that. And so that was always instilled in me. You will go to school and you will study. So it would never even come into my head.
There was no option.
No option.
Frankie, you've spoken openly about your anxiety over the years. Do you sort of understand maybe why?
I do. I think, you know, they have such a long time off, especially over the summer holidays. They all have such long time off, and I think it's then really daunting to go back, and they know they're going back into a new year, maybe a different teacher, maybe different friends in their class and things like that. And I do think I've had those conversations with my kids over the last week of, Mummy, I'm scared to go back, I don't know how to do this, I've got to play, even things like they've got to play matches against other schools and they're nervous about that situation, and you just have to listen, and I remember those feelings. But for me, I think I'm really stuck in the middle, because I really believe that kids need to go and they need to socialise and they need to be in that environment. But I do also feel like not one size fits all, and sometimes I have looked for alternative options for my kids. It doesn't mean that I've chosen them, but there are a lot of people out there looking for it. So I think it's good that it's there, but I think everything, like you say, if you can do a bit of both, 100%. But the anxiety thing, especially after COVID, is a really big thing. And, you know, my kid was really young during it, and it's really affected them. And you can see they're years behind other kids at their normal age emotionally.
And the balance is important. I think as well, we have to try and let children understand that you could facilitate online at home, but then when they go to college and when they go to university and just life in general, having a job, there's going to be situations... Barriers. And there's going to be situations where you have to engage with people. We know from being adults working, not necessarily here, but other jobs, you've worked with people that you don't necessarily get on with or you feel anxious, but it's about building that support network and finding ways to encourage you and make you feel stronger 100%. In that situation.
I mean, like, absolutely. Like you, Brenda, I had a great time at school. I really enjoyed it, but I do appreciate that lots of children don't, and it is sort of finding that balance, isn't it? Well, staying with schools, many of us will be making sure to buy books and backpacks for the kids returning. But how about Botox for yourself? Yes, the US has seen a huge rise in parents requesting cosmetic treatments so they don't look worn out at the school gates.
Wow!
Now, I have no idea why I'm coming to you first, Frankie, because you don't need any treatments.
I'm tired. You know what? It's a funny one. Like, I kind of... see how that has become a thing. I mean, I'm really lucky. I always laugh because I'm like, all the parents at my kids' school must think I'm like Jekyll and Hyde because they might see me online or see me on here where I've had my hair and makeup done, or like, I wasn't at the NTAs, but at the NTAs on the red carpet in a gown, and then I come into school with my kids and my hair's shoved on top, I've got no makeup on, I've not even showered yet, I've got leggings on and trainers, I'm just rushing the boys out the car like, did you clean your teeth, you know? I haven't got time to be thinking about how I'm looking at that time. So I guess Botox would probably be a great one because you look fresh every day. But I just think it wouldn't be at the top of my list because I'm still trying to get shoes that fit them the day before they go back. But it can be competitive in the school playground, sadly, and that was something actually I learned really early on, and it really shocked me. And I remember having a day where I was like, but surely I'm an adult now, my kids are at school, I'm past this point of my life, but that's not the case for all mums, so I can see why it happens.
Well, you're lucky, because some of the days I turn up at school, you're lucky if I've got a bra on.
I didn't say anything about a bra.
I just got to keep it how it is. I just got to keep it real with you. I understand what you're saying. I'm just running in. I think I do hear what you're saying about this whole being like this, competing with other mums. I see the mums. I see the WhatsApp groups. I'm in some WhatsApp groups, and you see the mums who like turn up perfect. The children are perfect. They know all the events. I mean, when my daughter was little, I remember dropping her off to school, and at the school gate, they're like, "Oh, today's book day," and I'm like, "Book day?" And I ran in the car and got a book because she's walked in, and the book is like, "How to Tell Your Relationship Is Over." I'm like, "Just tell me." You get a book. You didn't say what book, it's a book. So I've always been, listen, I'm at the door, you know, whether it's costume day, using a piece of paper, cutting out the eyes, you're a ghost, walk in. So I've always been honest and been that kind of parent, and I usually mingle and talk with all different parents, so I've never felt like inferior, like, oh, I'm not supposed to be. I've had my moments with different issues, but I think I've stayed grounded in the fact, like, this is me, and then I find I make those other mums who are so, like, up themselves, kind of feel like they can relax around me. Like, it's OK. We're mums, we're dads. Some things don't work and some things do.
Yeah.
And the main thing, our kids have got into school and we're there for them, whether we pick them up or whether we meet them at home, you know? So I understand. Botox, I don't know.
You brought it all flooding back to me now. I remember Grace waking up one morning and going, "It's Victorian Day today." And I'm like, what? And I literally sent her to school in a white shower cap. So I look good.
Did it?
But you know the whole Motherland programme? Have you watched Motherland?
So spot on.
With the whole different tables of the dynamics of the parents.
It's a power play, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you find. It's a power play. Don't you find that, Brenda?
No.
No, you don't.
Unfortunately, you know, this is where the mother guilt comes in, because from when Jamal and Tanisha were born, I've always been working, permanently been working. And for me, it was breakfast club, because I have to be at work for 9 o'clock, so I have to drop them off by 8 o'clock to breakfast club, so I don't get to see anybody at the gates or wave goodbye or pick them up after school. So, you know, the mum guilt for me is real in that way. I kind of wish I had some kind of competitive, oh, yeah, look at my hair today or whatever, but I feel very, very...
But you were you were paying the bills.
Yeah, but when I listen to you guys, that's something that I wish that I could get back with my kids, and, you know...
But didn't you say you took them to breakfast club?
I took them to breakfast
club.
club.
You're still dropping them at school.
No, but that's not... That's like, there's your breakfast, there's your money for... You know, it's different to having... hi, what's your name and what class are you... What's your child? And I never, ever had that.
But both of your amazing children are so grateful for how hard you worked. Yeah. And I got my finger out, so you know. Yeah, they're grateful for how hard you work. There's many mums out there and dads that will connect with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you still might have had your own wars. You might have been late. I bet you was one of those after-school mums that came late, yeah?
That's the thing. I mean, I wish I'd have been able to go to see the plays and things and football. I was just never...
It wasn't like you were sitting at home with your feet up.
No.
You were paying bills for them.
I had 2 working parents, and I would be dropped off at someone's house and they'd take me to school and they'd give me breakfast, or I'd be picked up by someone else after school. I rarely were picked up by my parents because they both worked, and I would say that is mostly a typical family home, because people got to pay the bills, Brenda.
And I'll tell you what, in 10 years, you'll be phoning us and saying, oh, my God, I've got to pick up the grandkids.